Hey everybody, well I wanted to do something a little different today, not a reaction video, because I came across some really fascinating information, and maybe you guys won't think this is nearly as fascinating as I do, but you know that I love genealogy and I love family history, and I love finding those interesting family connections to other parts of history and how people are related. So for example, I love finding out that a Revolutionary War general who was a good friend of George Washington named Hugh Mercer, who is the namesake of towns and counties named Mercer all over, especially the eastern United States, happens to be the great-great-great-grandfather of World War II general George S. Patton. Or that Mount Wilson outside of Los Angeles is named after George Patton's grandfather. You know, those kinds of things that I find fascinating. And so when I discovered this today, I was blown away. So many people are familiar with Desmond Doss, who the story of Hacksaw Ridge is about him. He was a conscientious objector, or as he called it, a conscientious cooperator. His religious faith meant that he was unwilling to take a life, but he was still willing to serve and save lives, and ends up receiving the Medal of Honor for saving what really turned out to be well over 100 lives in a couple of different incidents, especially on Okinawa. But what I wanted to do today is take a look at his family history, because he's actually got a significant family tie to one of the most famous battles in American history. So I'm going to show you kind of how this works, right? We're going to trace his family tree back to his great-grandfather. So here's Desmond Doss, and we're on Ancestry.com. So the first thing we need to find out is who his father is, right? So here's his World War II draft registration card. Gives a bunch of information. He's born February 7th. Holy cow, that's cool. It's my grandma's birthday. 1919 in Virginia. His father's name is William Thomas Doss. So Lynchburg, Virginia is where he lives, so we're obviously looking for that. If we go to the 1930 census in Lynchburg, Virginia, we can find the Doss family. And now we can see here, there's William Thomas Doss, and there's Desmond D. Thomas, his son, who's 11 years old, so that fits. So William Thomas Doss is 36, so he's born around 1893, 1894 in Virginia. So now we're looking for him. So here's the World War I draft registration card for his father, who was born in Appomattox, Virginia, which we know from other information that that's the case. He's an automobile builder. Interestingly, he lives on Garfield Avenue in Lynchburg, and Andrew Garfield plays Desmond Doss, his son, in the movie. So that's kind of cool. And you can learn a lot of information here, that he's short, slender build, gray eyes, brown hair. He's not bald. But that doesn't tell us a whole lot, except he was born September 17th, 1893. So the 31st anniversary of the Battle of Antietam, believe it or not. So what we want to do now is we want to look for him maybe in and around Appomattox. There's his World War II draft registration card. Yes, he would have had to register for that one too. Surprisingly, he lived until 1989. Which is super impressive that he lived that long. He was almost 100 years old when he died. So good for him. That's fantastic. But we want to find him in the census record and see who his father is. So the 1900 census isn't going to help us a lot. We're just going to see a W. Doss. I can't even see if there's a middle initial there. Born September 1858 in Virginia. They're living in Stonewall in Appomattox County. But there's his son, September 1893. So we're pretty sure that's him. So we're going to have to find a different record to try and find. So it says maybe it's W.H. Doss. So let's take a look. Maybe try to find another. Here's a death record that might be him. Looks like this is a death record for their daughter, William Henry Doss. Okay. So their daughter, Maddie, was 86 when she died. So long life in that family. William Henry Doss is the guy we're looking for now. So let's look for William Henry Doss. How about see if this is him in the 1860 census in Campbell County, Virginia. We would do a little more digging to confirm this, but I have actually already done some of this record searching, and I know that this is him. So the guy we're looking for here is Thomas H. Doss. This is Desmond Doss's great-grandfather. He's living in Campbell County, Virginia, and he's the guy that I want to talk about. Because we're going to take a look at his Civil War service records for the 42nd Virginia Infantry. So here you go. We're on fold 3 now. This is a great resource for military records, especially Civil War, but others as well. And there's not a lot necessarily in the Confederate records, but he was in Company I, 42nd Virginia. And here's what we're going to find out. When deceased, and here's what I thought was really cool. July 2nd, 1863, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, killed. I did a little digging and found out that the 42nd was in and around Culp's Hill. Looks like he spent some time in the hospital with typhoid fever the year before, and that's really about all the record we're going to get for him. But Desmond Doss's great-grandfather, Thomas H. Doss, killed in the Confederate Army fighting at the Battle of Gettysburg around Culp's Hill as part of Johnson's division. Thought that was really cool. That's why I love genealogy so much. You can find amazing stories like that. I hope you guys enjoyed that.